A Black executive perspective now presents Need to Know with the award-winning hyphenated Dr. Nsenga Burton. Dr. Burton, what do we need to know?
Good afternoon and welcome to Need to Know with Dr. Nsenga Burton. I am Dr. Nsenga Burton. It's good to see you today. Today I want to talk about some of the fallout from the election, the U.S. presidential election, one of which is this narrative that is floating and becoming a dominant narrative, which means it's pervasive, right? It's becoming one of the narratives that you're hearing not only all over media, but also regurgitated by people out in the community in the world. And it's this narrative that the Democrats lost because of messaging. I just want to say, as someone who is a communications expert, you really don't need messaging to go against someone like our, president elect. Right. And so I'm not saying that you don't need messaging, but this messaging, like this idea that somehow Democrats should be working overtime to siphon off, people who are kind of white supremacy light is preposterous. Is preposterous. And the idea that there was some messaging that needed to happen that didn't happen to reach the people that needed to be reached. We have an insurrectionist, which I call a treasonist. People who are parts of insurrections are typically called treasonists, right? But we have an insurrectionist, a convicted felon, a convicted rapist, right? Sexual batterer, abuser, someone who does not pay his debts, right? Someone who rebels against policies, whether it's keeping documents that you're not supposed to have, whether it's, disclosing taxes, whether it's disclosing health issues or whatever. We have all of that. We have someone who is perverted, right? Was caught on camera simulating a sexual act, right? The day before the election. We have someone who has been accused of battering and raping his first wife, which she wrote in her book, her autobiography. And so I'm like, I don't really understand what messaging, someone who's xenophobic, someone who wants to deport people who are not here, even though he's married to an immigrant, someone who wants everybody to speak English, even though he's married to an immigrant who doesn't really speak English that well. Someone who is best friends with, in cahoots with, whatever you want to say, has a strong relationship with Putin and North Korea, who are our sworn and mortal enemies. For anybody who's been in the service, we just celebrated Veterans Day. How anyone who served this country can vote for someone who called veterans losers, who defiled the name of John McCain, who, I think, he was problematic, but a stand-up guy for the most part, at least when it counted, right? And who also, served his country, whether you like him or not, like served his country. Um, I just don't understand what messaging people are looking for. Like, what would it take for you to look at all of those things, which are actually factual, right? They're factual. These are things that we know. And we have the first presidency, which was terrible, which people seem to have forgotten. You were locked in your houses for 2 years, which was preventable. Over 1 million people died. The economy was in the toilet when he left. You all keep talking about, he connected because he kept talking about the economy. Did you all forget 2016 to 2020, what the economy looked like? Did you forget about the joblessness? Did you forget about that? Um, so I just wanted to say today on Need to Know, sometimes you need to know what you already know. And that is the information that you have in front of you so that you can make a good decision. And I've said this before, I'm not anti-Republican. I've said that we need more parties because we have actually outgrown the Republican and the Democratic Party. I believe that. Third party, I think, is essential, it's necessary, but you have to take the time to build it. And you can't pretend that one exists when the stakes are this high. You just have to take the time to build it. But this Republican, mm-mm. This person, mm-mm. So I need people to stop pretending that we needed to do something different with messaging. And I'm talking about Black women, all these people who are working um, against this current, presidency, this potential presidency, and working in favor of Kamala Harris. And I've said this too. It doesn't matter who she is. She could have been a piece of wood. She could have been an inanimate object. How people wrap their brains around voting for this particular person, I will never understand. I don't think there's any messaging that could have gotten you to not do it. I mean, and then hearing all of this misinformation and disinformation post election. Oh, I just think he's going to do a better job with Israel and Palestine. Okay, because he did a great job before. You remember that? Oh, you don't. Go back and look at what happened before. The Ukraine. Somebody even had the audacity to say the Ukraine. I think he's going to solve that problem. I said, yeah, Ukraine is going to be a tourist destination because his buddy is over there, and North Korea soldiers got over there 4 weeks ago. If you read the news or watch the news or read for comprehension, so you think they're just over there chilling, just waiting to help Ukraine win? Okay. So, I mean, the things that I have heard people say, oh, is the economy when he drove us into the economy, into a recession and added so much to the federal deficit, more than any other president before him. All right. So, all of this stuff, I just have to say that there is no messaging that could have stopped people who voted for him knowing everything that they know about him. So just own it. Just say I'm a racist. I don't want a woman to be president. I don't want a black woman to be president. I don't like black people. I don't want women to have rights over their bodies. Just say what it is, but stop pretending like there was something else that could have been said or done to stop you from voting Republican. We're going to have to live with this. All of us are going to have to live with this. And, just like the last time when people were like, I didn't see this coming. You didn't see the pandemic coming? Because the whole world saw the pandemic coming. World Health Organization saw the pandemic coming. The CDC saw the pandemic coming. And we didn't do anything about it because the president thought it was going to be a bad public relations nightmare. So he was just going to pretend like it didn't happen, and all of those things that happened subsequently. So yeah, sometimes you need to know what you already know. You already have the information. You should have used it better. You should have thought about it more critically. Now we are screwed. So I don't want to hear from anybody what we could have done differently as it relates to messaging. Period. An insurrectionist, no place in the United States government. Period. No insurrectionists. That's it. And then you can add all the other stuff on. All right. So miss us with that. So tune in next week to a Black Executive Perspective podcast. I'm Dr. Nsenga Burton, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
A Black Executive Perspective.